Our next guest is quite a lot smaller, not only in physical size, but also in age. This is Jovie, and she is one of the kittens we have on the adoption floor right now. The kittens seem to be getting snatched up pretty quickly, but we still do have some of those older kittens in their kind of teenage years, and Jovie would be one of those. She's quite small, only just over 4 pounds, but she is 6 months old. And she is a super sweet little girl. She's your typical kitten. She's very affectionate. She's very playful. And, as you can see, quite curious about her environment. But a lot of times, these kittens that are, just a little bit older get overlooked. People want the really tiny 10-week-old kittens, 12-week-old kittens. That's what they're looking for. And the kittens that are a little bit older have a lot of good things going for them. Number one, they have all of the energy of a kitten. They still have all that same energy. But when they get to be 6, 7, 8 months old, their personalities are a little bit more established and set. So when you're interacting with them and you see their personality, it's going to be more inclined to be their personality long term. Whereas you're looking at that 10-week-old kitten, they can change a bunch of times before they reach adulthood. So there are a lot of benefits to looking at these older kittens, and Jovie's just one of the kittens that we have in that 6 to 10-month-old age range. We also have Gianna and Bartholomew and Prius, and unfortunately, some of those kittens are actually our longest residents at this point. Yes, they did spend some time in foster care because they were underage kittens, but essentially their entire lives have been spent as a shelter resident in some capacity. So you want to make sure that we're not overlooking these guys that are a little bit older.
So she has a chronic URI, upper respiratory infection. Should she live with another cat? Is that a possibility for her?
So what we mean by chronic upper respiratory infection, we talk about it all the time in terms of, cats on the floor get it. And not to go into it too deeply, but basically it's like a cold. They get sneezing, runny nose, nasal congestion, weepy eyes, stuff like that. And typically they get it once, they get medicated, and then it goes away. But for Jovie, she tends to have flare-ups more frequently, so her owners are going to have to be on the lookout for that. And as a result, like most people who are adopting a cat with a chronic URI, try to have it be the only cat, just because if she's shedding that virus and those germs, she could make the other cats in the household sick. We've had many cats on our adoption floor with that chronic URI, and they all get adopted eventually, most notably one of my favorites, Snotty Dotty. But, Dante and a couple of others also had that kind of chronic URI scenario. And, they've all been adopted and we haven't heard back. So we're assuming that it's going to go pretty well once they get into a home and less exposed to germs and stress. So those flare-ups may be fewer and far between, but it is something that anybody who takes on Jovie as a pet will want to be aware of. If that chronic URI doesn't scare you off and you think that Jovie's adorable and you want to make her part of your family this holiday season, then definitely go to visitfcac.as.me to book an appointment to meet her.